That's quite literally how my challenge went. So, hey there, my trader. How you doing? So, here's the thing. This week, this whole month, I've been trading a futures prop firm evaluation challenge. And I've been doing pretty good, matter of fact. It's been almost a year and a half since I took my last prop firm evaluation. And this one, I was doing really good. And it was maybe my second week in where I was essentially one trade away from passing it and everything went up in flames. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but I'm going to tell you the main lesson that I learned and how you can avoid this mistake as well. So one of the big mistakes that I was doing dynamic risk. Now, this does not work for me. It may work for other people, but it does not work for me because I have no idea at all when that next trade is going to be a winner. So trying to up my risk is a little bit risky for me, essentially, when I don't know if that next trade is going to be a winner or loser, even if it looks like the best setup, because that's what happened to me. I saw a setup that was really clean and I upped the risk and I ended up wiping out all my profits for the last week. So my lesson was do not do dynamic risk. Keep risk static for the whole challenge. So that is up to you. You can still trade aggressive with static risk. For example, you can do 1% risk per trade, but keep it at 1%. Do not go from 0.5 to 1.5% risk and fluctuate. Every trade should be the same risk because you don't know what trade is going to be a winner. You don't know what trade is going to be a loser. So to keep your progress, once you're profitable, right? Don't try and interfere with that profitability. Just let the odds play out. Let the series of trades play out because it's going to play out in your favor if you can stick to it. Now, after that trade happened, here is where the second lesson comes in. And is you have to be right between too hopeful and too doubtful. You have to be right in the middle to the point where you just don't care. And it's a careless state, but it's also a controlled careless state when you trade. And when you get a little too hopeful, you start to set expectations. Like, oh yeah, I'm gonna pass it this day. And when you don't pass it, when that expectation falls through the floor, it welcomes in a lot of frustration, anger, and just a lot of resentment. And that's where I made the mistake. I was too hopeful, and that caused me to get into a destructive state after my expectations wasn't met. The failure of an expectation being met is really, really harmful, especially emotionally. So this is where I come back to the point of the second lesson that I learned from trading this week as well from this challenge is just simply you have to stay in equilibrium between no expectations and you're not too hopeful and you're not doubtful. You're not saying, oh, I'm going to fail this challenge before I even take it. Because at that sense, nothing good's going to happen for you regardless. You have to be okay with whatever the result is going to be. And you really have to essentially don't care, but be in careless where you're controlled and you're following your disciplined plan over and over. Not the careless where you're just doing anything, hoping for something to work. And that is the second lesson that I learned this week from taking my prop firm evaluation challenge. I hope someone gained some value from this video. And until the next video, guys, peace and love.